Hey everyone, I'm Pastor Manny, and this is Looking Up. It's a ministry here at English Oaks Seventh day Adventist Church, and Sunday through Friday, Pastor Bob and I share a devotional thought in the mornings to encourage you throughout the day. And so today I wanted to share a little bit about just piggybacking off of what Pastor Bob was talking about today in his devotional and how God has planted you. I love that theme, and you see that theme of God and planting and the vine throughout all of Scripture. It's so amazing. And one of my favorite places where it actually talks about something like that is found in John 15. And it's probably a familiar couple passages to many of us. And if it's not to you, then check it out. It's such a good chapter, John chapter 15. And Jesus is talking about the vine and the branches. And I'm going to read the first two verses for us. And it says this in verse 1. It says, "I am the true grapevine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch of mine that doesn't produce fruit, and he prunes the branches that do bear fruit, so they will produce even more." Now, a few things that stand out to me here is one of the main things is about producing, right? It's about producing fruit. Now, whenever you plant something, obviously the benefits of what you want is you want it to produce fruit, right? And so when we see in the Gospels and just in all throughout Scriptures that Israel was God's plant. God wanted Israel to bear fruit in His name and to reveal His character to the surrounding nations. And so and that's something like a little correlation that when you go back to the Old Testament and then just bringing it to here, and it's a very familiar language to a lot of the Jews back then, talking about fruit, the vine, and the branches. And so it's interesting because it starts off with, "I am the true grapevine, and my Father is a gardener." I love how it starts off because it starts off in a relationship, the gardener and the grapevine, the Father and the Son. So I love that correlation and how it comes out like that. And then Jesus goes into two types of branches, right? There's one branch that doesn't produce fruit, and then there's another branch that produces fruit, but it gets pruned so it can produce even more fruit. And just going through those two things real quickly. The reason why the branches that don't produce fruit are cut off is simply because if they stay on the branch, they can infect the healthy branches, and they can keep the healthy branches from producing more fruit. And I want us to think about that in the context of us as followers of Jesus. There are people that don't produce fruit for God and for His kingdom. They can be infected. They can actually infect sometimes the good fruit, the believers, the other people that are actually trying to follow Jesus with their heart. And God in His grace and mercy, He cuts them off. He cuts them away because He doesn't want the good fruit, the good branches, to be infected or to be hindered from producing good fruit, right? And then you look at the branches that are producing fruit, but they get pruned so that way they can produce more fruit. And to me, this is just kind of reflecting of just God and how He wants to prune away certain things in our life that are keeping us from growing closer to Him. And so, and we need these things to get pruned back because they're kind of like a wall. And I don't know if you've ever if you ever feel like you've hit a wall in your walk with God. I know I felt that way before, so I just feel like, man, God, like I feel like I've hit a wall. Sometimes it might be the things that we're holding on to, or sometimes God might need to prune away something in our lives that we are holding tight to, that is keeping us from growing closer to Him. Maybe it's anger, maybe it's pride. Something that God has had to prune away a lot in my life is pride, a prideful heart. And I felt and recently that God has been really trying to prune away self-reliance, like trying to rely on myself to do a lot of the things that I do, including in ministry. That could be harmful, So I really feel like God is trying to tell me, hey, like, you need to rely on me more, and uh, God more, Manny less. Pretty much, simply is just putting it. So God more, Manny less. But by me allowing God to use me more, He's actually using me in a way that I could never do it on my own. So that's just a thought I want to share with you with these two things is, and just a question I have for us before we go is, what kind of branch are you? What kind of branch am I? I want to be a branch that produces fruit, but then that allows God to prune my life. And that's my prayer. That's my prayer I want to leave for us. Simply is just, God, I want you to prune the things that need to be pruned in my life away. And so I hope that's your prayer. Yeah, that's your prayer going on in this week as well. But thank you so much for tuning in with us. Please click a link, the subscribe button, hit the like button, share a comment if this is something that you felt in your walk with God. And I just hope everyone has a great and blessed week. Take care, and just God bless and have a wonderful week. All right.